So let's get right into it. What is We Care Impact?
So We Care Impact is a creative agency and consulting firm that leverages arts and tech and community to make an impact. So we do that targeting culture
Mhm.
as well as working on strategy and partnership for purpose-driven brands and organization. And so the whole idea is that our stories and our narratives make the foundations of what we believe, how we relate to one another, and show up to the world.
Yeah,
And so if we can flip that and flip the me to the we and get people to care, then we can get them engaged and ready to take action. And so that's in a nutshell, like the
what
basis idea.
of We Care Impact? Yeah.
Yeah.
And where has philanthropy taken you?
Well, it's an interesting way to phrase things. Philanthropy in its etymology means like love of human. And so I think that's where it starts. It starts from like having a deep care and love for humanity, for this crazy like mystery that we're living in, and to make sense of it in a way that that benefits us and benefits the quality of our lives. And I think that heavily relies on our interconnection with one another, as well as the way we see and view our environment. And so for me, I grew up a little bit all over. My mom was an economist specialized in development and poverty issues. And so, by the age of 15, I had already lived between like France, Algeria, Ivory Coast, Senegal, the United States. So that allowed me to have a wide range of experience and see like socioeconomical contexts,
Yeah,
in different ways, and to understand that there was something that could be valued and that could be bridged in each of them. And so wanting to, give back and having also like been, very much embedded in values of community,
mhm,
uh, which are very strong, in the African continent. It was kind of a natural progression of how could I myself contribute to creating a better world and to bring something of value.
absolutely. And you talk about we and you talk about me flipping it to we and bridging that gap. What is that gap that you're trying to bridge?
So I guess like the whole kind of like blueprint of the company is in the name. So the whole idea is like it's called We Care Impact, and that if we flip the me to the we, that like me flipped upside down
Yeah,
is we, and that if we can move from the personal of like I care and therefore I'm driven to act and to make an impact
yeah.
to like we care, then we can truly, get to these objectives and the goals that we're wishing. And so, how do we do that? Again, like culture, values, and the stories, that we have are very much like a foundation. So, how can we, shift it in order to come to that realization, and then kind of restore our own like ecosystem and like social intelligence mycelium in a way that we move from a paradigm of competition and of creating without any intention or purpose to a
Yeah.
paradigm of collaboration and unification, where intentionally in the design of the product, of the service, or of the system, we thought about its long-term longevity,
Yeah.
as well as its benefit and usage. So we
And
move from more intentional and purpose-driven society
right.
than just like consumeristic without the backbone, which are the values that are holding it.
Absolutely. And you talk about, traveling around as well as where has We Care impacted or what areas of the world has We Care
Yeah,
impacted?
we've been in the U.S., mainly in the big cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Miami.
Okay.
We've been in Mexico City. We just did a project in collaboration with the Yawanawa tribe in the Amazon jungle in Brazil in April. We just did a launch of our social token at the Ethereum conference in Paris.
Oh,
So the
nice.
idea is that taking, the concept further than just the story and creating like a bridge for the community to take action. So we have a social token called We Care, which accompanies our creative productions and activations, and it gives a way for the community to join the story and be a part of the solution. So the idea is that it's a crypto social token that as people complete certain tasks and then get positively engage, into solving the issue, we reward them with a token, as well as we have an impact to earn model backed up by Cello, so you can gain up to 5,000 K of Cello worth on top of the token, and then you can exchange or we could token for different perks like redeemable and prizes. So the idea is that we reward the change makers and the doers,
Yeah.
and that when you give, you receive. And so, in order to really bring value, creating an ecosystem of partners, in order to come together and to amplify what you have to give is also very much something that we're focused on. So with that, we have different alliances and partnerships from corporations, brands like NGOs, crypto tech companies, and really what brings us together is to kind of put our heads together into problem solving and creating new ways and systems that allow the community to engage in a positive way.
That's amazing. And then in terms of like areas of around the world that you've traveled to, what are some of those areas that social media hasn't even picked up on or hasn't amplified that should be amplifying on, you know, bringing We Care impacts or attention to, or the audience's attention to?
Well, I'll answer the question in twofold, I guess. I think we're moving away from raising awareness through depressing people and through playing on their fearful emotions or just that like
Because
pity and disarray.
it's the way it has always been, right?
Yeah, and I think that's not very helpful. So even growing up, like looking up, at the kind of videos that were being done around, raising awareness for social and environmental issues and NGOs, it's very dry and like you don't really want to engage, and it doesn't really create that emotional proximity
Yeah.
that really will drive you to care and to action. And so I think we're moving away from that and closer to, or at least that's the path that we're approaching, to inspiring people and inspiring them to imagine, different ways to, shift the beliefs, and the narratives and to experience something. So this is where we're bringing like arts, technology, and community as leverage to do that. And we think that like arts is it's a really amazing tool in order to like inspire, to enchant and to engage like people,
Yeah.
and then technology in order to like amplify, to integrate and create the tools for connection as well, and then community, which is the secret sauce, because without any of our actions and engagement, none of this would be. So kind of
Absolutely.
inspire community to want to be a part of co-creating this with us.
For
And
sure.
so
I mean, future proof is built on four pillars as well, and community is one
yeah.
of them. So is culture and tech, and wealth. But in terms of community, what is We Care Impact doing to involve the community, or how are you involving community?
So we do a lot of like in-person activations as well
Okay.
that range from day activation with music and like arts and panel talks on different subjects. We did one in Mexico City during Zona Maco. Did one also in Paris during Ethereum conference. And allow for people to kind of like future-proof the
Yeah.
engage into this topic in an immersive and interactive way. We partner with different NGOs to create calls to actions for the communities in regards of like certain like environmental issues. So we've did a lot of like different beach cleanup with a lot of different organizations and partners. I was living in Mexico for a little bit and in Tulum as well, and so we were quite active there. And then we're building as well an ecosystem of like purpose-driven brands, organizations, and players, and always kind of coming up with like innovative ways and solutions to create more meaning and value for our communities.
Yeah, we were talking, I mean, before we got on stage, but we were talking about regenerative finance.
Yeah.
What is that, and how does that come into play with We Care Impact?
Yeah, and in regards to making sense as well with Future Proof and coming here as an Impact World Festival, the idea of regenerative finance is to, it all boils down to story at the beginning. And so even finance is a tool that had arise from a common stories that we collectively agreed to. And the tool itself is not bad, but the way that we use these tools really end up making a difference in the outcomes and in the benefits that we create. So regenerative finance for me is the idea that the benefit of society, of the environment, and our wealth is all interconnected, and that if we take that into consideration, then we can create a system that is regenerative,
Hmm.
both for our financial investments in pockets, as well as for the projects that we're injecting,
Definitely.
like into. And so there was this interesting article, about the UN, from the UN Development Program, stating the impact on the economy about with land degradation,
Yeah.
and how everything is kind of like interconnected. And we don't really think about this because we've created a system that has removed us from like kind of the supply chain of like how it happens. But it said that basically if we invested about $1 into regenerating a land and regenerative practices in agriculture, then the return would be like up to $30 for each dollar that we've invested. And so I think what is also happening is right now we have a change in values that's coming from both like the generations, the culture, and kind of the new generation being more aware of certain topics and more sensible to that. But there's also like a big like wealth transfer that will be happening in the next couple of years, and
Yeah.
that wealth transfer is, in the equivalent of 30 trillion, which is up to the GDP of the United States, and it will move from the hands of a younger generation as well as mostly in the hands of women. And so that will also shift, the way that finance and our investments and the way that we look at things is going to be, and so to prepare ourselves for that shift and for us to help support companies and organizations into doing that, and to really position themselves to maximize the return of interest, but as well as to do it in a way that is conducive for engagement for their community,
Yeah.
and as well as to reframe things in a way that they see that the direct correlation of their growth is also very much linked with with our environment, the
Environment.
way that we treat our environment and our societies. Yeah.
And you know what? I remember reading something where you say the next wealth is in the female's hands, or
So the future of wealth is
the
female.
yes, future of
Yeah,
wealth of female. That's
because
it.
just because of that wealth transfer, so we're moving from a cycle where mostly the money was in the hands of men,
Yep.
and which have been proven that they tend to care about different things and tend to move about different things. So there was a study from McKinsey saying that businesses that prepare themselves from that wealth transfer will be up to 4 times as profitable as businesses who don't.
Hmm.
And so it's just kind of like rethinking who is our audience and who is our community and what do they care about. It's proven that women tend to care more
More about.
about environmental and social governance goals, that they spend differently. And so that will completely change the way that we provide, our services, and that we really tune in with the audience that we're serving.
Yeah, absolutely. What about the next generation? How are you looking to get them involved in We Care Impact?
Well, yeah, we're tapping into a lot of like different organizations. They're like youth led. The Gen Z is very much active and very much conscious in regards to social and environmental theme. It's
Oh,
kind of a climate anxiety the term has been coined. It's going around that generation, and so they've proven to be like very driven, like with the ability to like self-organize and to really like show
show
that
it.
their voice should be heard.
Yeah.
So we have a few campaigns that are going to be coming out, and we're going to be leveraging our token as well to incentivize the community to join. And the idea is to partner as well with these group-led organizations that are by the youth, and to kind of engage them to be a part of this and to take it further, because they're the future, and at the end of the day, we can all just pass the baton and do our own little parts of the story.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then taking us on a different route, though, how are we looking to get the audience involved here? How do we get the attendees involved? What can we do to get involved?
Well, we have a space for everybody. That's the whole idea of an ecosystem, is that that everybody has its space, and that we it's just a question of like finding out what is the collaborative bridge. So I just like invite everyone, that resonates, with this story and with these values, to reach out and to get to know each other a little bit more,
Yeah.
and figure out how we can take it a step further. Because what we're building is as well an ecosystem of, you know, agents of change in different agencies, from like media to finance to tech, and to really understand how we can come together, and how we can create value for one another. And the whole idea that the same thing as nature, when the health of one system affects the health of all. And so I think that we can really like maximize what we can get out of societies and our economies, and of the genius and sometimes stupidity of the
Yeah,
human
yeah,
nature,
of course.
by uh, by bringing this cognitive diversity, and by collaborating in brand new ways. So,
Absolutely. And then what's for you next? Where's We Care Impact going next?
well, it's been a really, really busy year. So I'm actually like looking forward to kind of integrate and develop deeper what we've already built. Um, we have a few different new series and content that are coming up. One is called Inspire Me, which highlights like entrepreneurs, like scientists, like companies that are working towards changing the world and making it a better place. So we had a first episode with Barbara Belvisi, which is the CEO and founder of Interstellar Lab, which is a company that does biopods, which basically do crop cultivation in controlled like environment for life support on Earth and on space. So on Earth, it allows for them to, find what's the best way to optimize and to grow the most important plants, create a catalog and database of our ecosystem, allow us to kind of anticipate the risk with climate change and how we can respond to that. And as well, they have a partner, a contract with NASA, where some of these biopods will be on the moon and on Mars,
Oh, wow.
and will be helping, the astronauts out there to get their nutrition, their, their,
Meals.
yeah, exactly. Because when you go to space, you're not able to like
Yep.
eat a lot of different things, so they end up with nutritional deficiency. So that will be able to kind of like grow that and allow them to be able to take care, of themselves. And the idea is like eventually, as humans have to move, from Earth, as our sun, dies, and we have to figure out something. It's kind of the first step towards becoming multiplanetary and kind of bringing our ecosystem with us, and allowing us to preserve that. So that's our first highlight episode of this new series, but there's many, many more that are coming, and I've been really blessed to get to know along this journey some amazing people, like projects, and really wanting to support and to find ways to bring them forward for the community, and to inspire others, and to let them know that they have something to give as well.
Absolutely. And how can our attendees find out about more about We Care Impact?
You can go to our website. It's wecareimpact.com. You can also look up on socials at We Care Impact. And, and yeah, feel free to reach out as well. I'm Nesma_V on Instagram. And yeah, I look forward to meeting all of you, and to get to learn a little bit more about like what brought you to Future Proof, and when you intend to create.
Yeah.
And
I want to see where We Care Impact goes from here till next year.
yeah,
Yeah.
look forward to it. We'll come back next year, and I'll give you guys a big update. And really, it's been really great to be able to connect with the Future Proof team, and
Absolutely.
to I got John reached out like months and months ago, and immediately saw kind of the synergies within the culture of the
Yeah.
company and what you guys are doing. So it's my pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone.